The icy winds of Shimla whisper through endless cedar forests. Snow-clad peaks shimmer under a pale sun, and down in the folds of the mist-covered valley rests something lost to time. Rana Valley, a 19th-century British-era mansion, now silent and forgotten. A car winds up a narrow mountain road. Inside sits Rehan Kapoor, a young architect from London, returning with his wife Anaya. He has inherited this grand, decaying property from his late grandfather, once a symbol of pride, now wrapped in shadows. Anaya said, "Rehan, this mansion feels strange to me, as if it recognizes me." Rehan smiled faintly. "Maybe it does. After all, it's part of my childhood and my memories." The gates groan open. Inside, cobwebs drape forgotten furniture. Dust lies thick on ornate portraits. And in the center hall stands a grand piano, its keys buried beneath years of silence. Shimla, where snow cloaks the hills like a shroud, and the deodar trees sing the songs of silence. In one forgotten corner of this ghostly town stands Rana Valley, a house of whispers, old secrets, and restless echoes. Tonight, its doors open once again. Anaya's voice was filled with awe and a slight chill. "Rehan, it feels like someone's been waiting for us here." Rehan chuckled, trying to lighten the mood. "Well done, Mrs. Kapoor. We just got here, and you've already started paranormal activities." His tone softened. "Maybe it's just my childhood memories calling me back." The mansion loomed before them like a beast waiting to devour. Its windows were hollow eyes staring into the gathering darkness. As the heavy door groaned open, a putrid smell of decay and something metallic, like old blood, wafted out. The mansion was as ancient inside as it was outside. Broken windows, furniture covered in dust, and in the center hall, a grand piano with a thick blanket of dust on its black keys. It looked like a devil's chest, hiding an old curse inside. Shadows danced in the corners of the room, elongating like grasping fingers. Walking toward the piano, Anaya's voice was almost a whisper. "This piano, it's so beautiful. In this silence, I feel like pouring melodies into it." As Anaya approached the piano, the temperature dropped dramatically. Her breath formed visible clouds in the air. The dust on the piano seemed to shift and swirl, forming strange patterns before settling again. A faint, almost imperceptible melody echoed through the hall, notes that sounded like they were being played by unseen fingers. To fulfill Anaya's wish, Rehan invited a renowned music teacher from Shimla, Guru Iyer. Iyer was a learned man, yet there was an odd, burning obsession in his eyes. He trained Anaya every day, but his teaching was far from ordinary. One day, while Rehan was away, Iyer gave her a very different kind of lesson. He asked Anaya to close her eyes and follow the sound of his voice. Iyer's voice was hypnotic. "The melody should come from within you, Anaya, not just from your fingers. Imagine you are a temple and a spirit is awakening inside you." Anaya closed her eyes. Iyer hummed a strange, dissonant tune. Her fingers started moving on their own, playing a melody both unfamiliar and terrifying. The notes hung in the air like poison darts. The shadows in the room seemed to pulse with the rhythm, stretching and contorting in unnatural ways. When Anaya opened her eyes in fear, she found Iyer just inches away, his eyes burning with madness and lust. He tried to touch her. Anaya screamed. "Stay away from me," she cried. Rehan returned to find her crying. He warned Iyer and threw him out of the house. But that night, as rain poured heavily, Anaya sat at the piano again, unable to resist a melody that seemed to call her. Suddenly, Iyer returned, and that night changed everything. The storm raged outside, lightning illuminating the mansion in brief, terrifying flashes. Inside, Anaya played the piano with increasing frenzy, her fingers moving with impossible speed. The music grew louder, more discordant, filling every corner of the house. Iyer appeared at the doorway, his silhouette framed by another flash of lightning. His face was twisted into a grotesque mask of desire and madness. Iyer's voice was distorted. "You understand now, don't you? The music, it's a gateway." Tears streamed down Anaya's face. "No, stop it." Iyer advanced toward her, his movements unnatural, almost gliding across the floor. The room grew colder still, frost forming on the window panes. Anaya scrambled backward, knocking over a candle stand. It crashed onto Iyer's head with a sickening thud. Blood sprayed across the piano keys, staining them crimson. But the discordant piano notes continued to echo, seemingly played by invisible hands, growing louder and more frenzied until they reached a deafening crescendo. 5 years pass. Rehan and Anaya live in London now. The melody returns. In London, Anaya is no longer the same. She plays the same melody again and again, the one she learned inside the mansion in their London home. Rehan pleaded, "Anaya, forget that night." But she only smiled and said softly, "The melody is incomplete, Rehan. I have to finish it." Her health began to decline day by day. Doctors called it psychological trauma, but Rehan felt that something else, some unseen force, was taking control of her. Anaya was very weak. A year later, Rehan and Anaya flew back to India for a friend's wedding in Shimla. But after the celebrations, nostalgia called. So they drove up the hills to Rehan's old family home, a place waiting to awaken its memories. But that night still lived with them. Anaya started playing the same tune at night, her fingers moving across imaginary keys in her sleep. Sometimes, Rehan woke to find her standing at the foot of their bed, eyes wide open but unseeing, humming that terrible melody. One night, Rehan woke up to find Anaya missing. A letter lay on the bed. "I have to go. I will find freedom." He instantly realized she'd gone back to Shimla, to the mansion. The mansion stood as before, but now it seemed more alive, more menacing. The gate swung open with no wind to move it. As Rehan approached, he saw movement in the windows, shadows that didn't match the shape of any human. The door of the mansion opened by itself, revealing darkness within. Inside, Anaya stood before the piano, but she wasn't the same anymore. Her eyes were black voids, and there was a terrifying smile on her face. She turned her head a full 180 degrees, bones cracking audibly. A deep, distorted, dual voice emanated from Anaya. "You came, Rehan, to take your Anaya? She's gone now. Only I remain." Rehan was terrified. "Anaya, what are you doing? Stop it. Please, let's go from here." Rehan walked toward her. Anaya laughed maniacally, her voice shifting, sometimes Iyer's, sometimes a woman's. The room grew colder, and Rehan could see his breath in the air. The piano began to play by itself, the same discordant melody from that terrible night. The possessed voice continued. "You buried him beneath the soil, but his soul came to me. Now we are one." Anaya let out a piercing, inhuman scream. The piano keys slammed down on their own, creating a cacophony of noise. Anaya attacked Rehan, her nails elongating into claws, scratching deep marks on his hands. Her movements were unnatural, her body contorting in ways that should be impossible. Somehow, he dragged her to the car. As they drove away, the mansion's windows seemed to watch them go, and unsettling laughter echoed from within the walls. Rehan kept Anaya locked in a family house. He tried to restrain her, but her strength had grown beyond human limits. At night, she often woke up and mimicked Iyer's voice, sometimes speaking in languages Rehan had never heard. The possessed voice taunted him. "You can't stop this, Rehan. The tune is incomplete, and its end will be yours." Rehan grew restless. One day, while sitting in the garden outside, he noticed a strange man, a tall, ragged figure in an old coat, smoking a cigarette, lost in verses. The man seemed to appear from nowhere, as if he materialized out of the shadows. The beggar murmured, "The drum of time beats on. Some are blessed, some are broken. It's karma's game, son, the game of win and loss." Rehan, fraught with worry, approached and offered money, thinking he was a beggar asking for alms. His voice was broken. "Here, have something to eat." The beggar did not look at Rehan at first, then gazed up, his eyes sharp and clear. "Money won't fix it, son. When the home of the heart collapses, what uses the roof above? Your wife, she's suffering in destiny's game, isn't she?" Rehan froze. "How does this man know?" How do you know that?" Rehan asked. The beggar blew a smoke ring. "My work is to dig graves. The earth and I share a bond. She too whispers. She should have stayed with you, right, Anaya?" The beggar's eyes glimmered oddly. He looked toward the house and said with a chilling smile, "Go. She's calling you." Then he recited softly, "When the lonely night speaks to ghosts, it shows man the path to the divine. Go now, son. Wait for dawn." The beggar walked away, disappearing into the shadows, as if he was never there. Rehan stood silent, confused about who that man really was. As he turned back to the house, he saw Anaya's face in the window, her eyes black voids, her mouth twisted into a smile that wasn't hers. The next morning, a letter lay at Rehan's door. It read, "The time to face destiny has come. Tonight, 11 p.m., come to the Eastern Cemetery." The paper felt unnaturally cold, and the ink seemed to shimmer as if alive. At 11 p.m., Trembling, Rehan reached the cemetery. The same beggar stood beside a freshly dug grave. The moonlight cast elongated shadows that seemed to move on their own. "You came, son. This grave wants to speak to you," the beggar said. "What is it saying?" "My Anaya's life is in danger. Please help me," Rehan pleaded. "Listen closely," the beggar replied. The beggar bent down, pressing his ear to the soil. Faint, drifting voices emerged. One was Iyer singing the Requiem. The other was Anaya weeping. "There's only one way to free her," the beggar said. 800 kilometers from here lies an old shrine deep in the forest. Go there, but be warned, the spirit will try to stop you at every step. The car drove down a dark road, the headlights barely penetrating the oppressive darkness. Suddenly, a dusty old woman appeared in the middle of the road, waving her hand. Her face was gaunt, her eyes hollow sockets. The possessed Anaya cried out, "Mother!" Rehan realized it was Iyer's trick and sped away. In the rear-view mirror, he saw the old woman's face contort into Iyer's, her mouth opening in a silent scream. A few miles later, a bridge appeared broken, spanning a chasm that seemed to lead to nowhere. The darkness below seemed to pulse, as if alive. "Where will you go now, Rehan? This is the end," Anaya's voice taunted. He looked again. The bridge was fine, just another illusion. But as he drove across, he felt something grab at the car, unseen fingers scratching at the windows. At a roadside inn, Rehan stopped for water. When he returned, Anaya was gone. In the rear-view mirror, he saw Iyer's bloodied face laughing back at him, his eyes burning with hatred. Rehan screamed, then looked again. It was Anaya, crying. "Rehan, help me, she sobbed. But before she could finish, the spirit took hold again. Her face twisted into a grotesque mask, her voice becoming a cacophony of whispers in languages dead for centuries. Hurt and exhausted, Rehan stopped near the forest and led Anaya up a steep path toward the ancient shrine. Iyer speared through horrifying illusions along the way, visions of Rehan's worst fears, sound as loved ones in torment. Somehow, they reached the shrine. Anaya could not cross its gate, as if an invisible force held her back. She writhed and screamed, her body contorting in impossible ways. "No, not this place. Keep me away," the possessed voice shrieked. A bearded old Sufi Baba emerged from within, his eyes glowing with peace. He chanted briefly, poured sacred water on Anaya, and she fainted beside the tomb. "Don't be afraid, son. She's at peace here," the Baba said. "But for her soul's release, you must be ready. This dark spirit is bound by the 5 elements: water, earth, fire, air, and one thing tying to Anaya, her locket, still stained with the spirit's blood." Rehan understood. The Baba gave him an antique crystal bottle filled with pure water. That spirit will follow you. It will try to stop you. But do not fear, do not stop. Ever, the Baba instructed. Whenever it disturbs her, drop one drop of this water. It will calm her. But true salvation lies 1 kilometer ahead, in the ancient well of hell, Jahannam Kakwa. Once a soul enters, it never returns. Rehan carried Anaya toward the cursed well under the moonlight. The path grew darker, the trees seeming to reach out with grasping branches. Iyer's spirit now used its final strength. He hallucinated. Anaya appeared normal, hugging him. "Rehan, I'm fine. Let's leave." When he moved closer, her face morphed into Iyer's. "Fool!" the voice snarled. They continued forward. Anaya collapsed. A branch snapped above. Rehan shielded her. The crystal vial broke. The spirit swirled around them like a black tornado, howling with voices of the damned. Rehan screamed, and oh! The spirit roared. Voices of Iyer and Anaya merged. "Your end is here, Rehan." Rehan grabbed the pouch of 5 elements and Anaya's locket. At the well's edge, battered and bleeding, he clung to his last hope. Suddenly, a hallucination showed 2 wells, one marked Hell's Well, one plain and nameless. Confused, Rehan threw the pouch into the labeled one. The spirit shrieked, thrashing wildly. Anaya laughed, cried, screamed all at once. When the spirit was distracted, Rehan secretly opened another pouch, the real one Sufi Baba had given, and began the true ritual. He dropped earth and water, lit fire, scattered ashes, released air, and finally dropped Anaya's locket into the silent well. There was a piercing scream, a vortex of suction, and then deep silence. The spirit of Iyer was sucked deep within. Anaya fell unconscious beside the well. Only Rehan's trembling breaths remained. A flashback echoed the Sufi Baba's voice. "The spirit will chase you. She will try to make you stop. But move forward without fear, never pause. Remember, one pouch is false, the other real. Use the real one at the well." Months later, Rehan, recovered, moved with Anaya to a new city. She was healthy again, but that night still haunted them both. Anaya was tearful. "Forgive me, Rehan, that night." Rehan held her close. "Sure, that wasn't you, Anaya. We're okay now. Everything's okay." He comforted her, but in his eyes still flickered the image of that deep well in Iyer's face. The battle was won, but peace was lost forever. And back to London. The end. The soul beneath the snow. If you like our story, please subscribe and share and comment, give feedback, give your love.